Hey guys, it's Albethium back with another video for Elden Ring, and today I'm gonna be showing you how to change into a dragon. Now this is going to be a little bit of a process, so you know what? Make sure you got some time and take notes. And before I even think about asking you to click that like or subscribe button for me, I just ask that you perhaps give me a chance to earn that from you. And with that being said, well, let's get in on this. So, this is where our quest begins. We are at a pillar path waypoint. Now, you're gonna be noticing this poor guy screaming in pain. Do not mercy kill him. Just talk to him, deplete his dialogue, and then we're gonna be off to the next step. From him, simply start riding forward. Now, you're gonna know that you are on the correct path when you see all these dragon statues. They are literally along the entire way. You are also gonna have a little invasion by a dragon man that you won't have any type of trouble in dispatching. Simply kill him and we are gonna be going down to this little cave. And from the Dragon's Pit side of Grace, you need to start running. Now, if your goal is a little bit different than just reaching this place that I'm showing you, you should absolutely explore and just turn every nook and cranny. Now, there's also going to be a little boss here that once killed is going to be dropping you a Dragonstone, but the correct path that you need to take is this one that is kind of lit up with braziers and candles, but not always, which is why I'm showing you this entire run. Now over here to the right is the aforementioned boss that you can go, and if you have the will, simply deal with it. But we're gonna be going down here to the left and just jumping down this giant pit. And down here is going to be the ancient Dragon Man boss. This guy you simply need to dispatch. He is really not that hard, and I truly believe you're not gonna be having a lot of problems with him. Simply dispatch him and we're gonna be going towards that big door over there. And from this newly found side of Grace, you are gonna be exiting. I do have to mention that the weapon that you just obtained does deal extra damage to dragons, so you know what, do with that what you will. If you want to experiment a little bit, so be it. Now over here, foot of the Jagged Peak, here we're gonna be going to this little hilltop over there, and there's going to be a message from the NPC that we talked to that was kind of convulsing in pain. This may or may not be needed, but hey, in these games it really is better safe than sorry. As you climb down over here, there's going to be a dragon boss. Now, I honestly don't think he is relevant in any way for this quest, but killing him will yield you some materials that you can use later, because all of this ends with a dragon communion altar. So, this decision is going to be entirely up to you. And from over here, we're gonna be riding down south. Now, this is pretty much the key place in this entire quest, and honestly, it just puts this dragon earlier as something truly insignificant, but hey, again, you never know. There is really not a lot of deviation when it comes to this path over here. You really can't turn left or right and just miss this giant, enormous dragon that is over there. So, simply go and rest at the side of Grace, and once you do that, that is going to be causing this NPC to simply appear out of thin air. So what you need to do is just go to her and exhaust her entire dialogue in true Soulsborne fashion. And after that, simply return to where we fought that very first dragon. Now you're gonna be seeing all of these melted rocks and simply ride here between them. Now again, there really isn't a lot of possibility to mess up this, at least this first part of the journey, so simply start riding. And you're gonna be riding past the cliff and everything, and then you're gonna be fighting a spirit spring. Obviously, you're gonna be using it because here basically starts the scaling of this huge giant, enormous mountain. Yeah, you heard that right. It is simply huge. So just keep going until you reach the next side of Grace. And riding from there, you're gonna be reaching this little opening and you will see two dragons fighting. Now, yet again, you can't kill these dragons, but you know what? You can actually let them do quite a lot of damage to each other, and usually one of them is going to be killing the other one. Obviously, the one, dubbed as the boss is always going to be the winner. Simply intervene or not, I still don't really think any of these dragons are necessary for this quest, but again, you keep getting priceless materials, so I do recommend that you do kill them. And once both of the dragons have been dispatched, you're gonna be setting up on this little climb, and over there is going to be a familiar face, only this time not screaming in utter agony. It is Igon, and he is actually very, very excited to see you, so much so that he is gonna be giving you his finger so that you can summon him for the final fight of this entire questline. And behind him there's going to be a spirit spring, or should I say a couple. Now this part of the game is going to be pretty much you riding, straight forward until you reach this little part where there's going to be rolling boulders, which obviously you need to be avoiding. And these boulders, once you are done with them, this is going to culminate in a little bit of a more difficult dragon boss fight. Simply dispatch the dragon, no worries if you should die, and there is a stake of Marika over there, so you can simply respawn endlessly until you have him done. After you are done with the dragon, you're basically gonna start riding more up, again climbing, and yet again you have very little choice to where you need to go. So you cannot mess this up. Ride until you reach yet another site of grace. You're gonna be resting on it, and from there we will be continuing. And it's finally the part of the whole quest that's leading up to the boss. This is going to be the final stretch. Now, all of this looks a lot more dangerous than it actually really is, so don't worry about it. Simply run to the spirit spring and use it. Use it better than I did this one over here, and simply continue running. Now, over here, behind this little cliff, it's going to be a bit of a trickier part, mainly because it was dark, or at least it was dark for me, and there are some gaps in the cliff. If you fall down, it's not going to be a lot of fun making your way backwards. So simply, pay attention, do not rush it. These lightnings are not really that big of a deal. And then the second spirit spring, you just start running here. This is what we have been questing for. Now over here, once you do enter this giant layer, there is going to be a dragon stone. I do recommend that you do take it, and after that we're going to be going over there to the right. Simply start climbing, and now it is time for the final site of grace. And to fight Bayle, I fully recommend that you actually do use a Mimic Tear and also summon Igon, because this guy, even with that help, is still going to be a challenge, and really big challenge at that. Now, when it comes to the actual boss fight, what I recommend you do is, in the second phase, perhaps stick to the cliff, because this can potentially block some of his projectiles, if not all of them, once he does start flying, and he sure does love doing that. Now, one thing that he's mostly going to be doing is this AoE attack, but even then you're gonna be having a lot of room. Kill him and obtain the heart. This is what you have been questing for. And before you go back to the priestess, I recommend that you go back to where you last saw Igon. He is going to be dropping all of his possessions, and it's going to be pretty nifty with the bow. Also his bell bearing, which you can take back to the round table hold and just give it to the twins. This will allow you to purchase these awesome anti-dragon arrows. And after that, it's finally time to go back to the Grand Altar. Now, first thing perhaps you want to do is just interact with it and choose one of these things. Obviously, you can have only one per playthrough by obtaining his heart. So choose one that kind of suits you the best and you think you might enjoy more. And after that, where the priestess was, you're gonna be noticing there's an item. This is the heart. This is the item that actually transforms you into a dragon. And after all of this questing, you are probably very eager to finally use this thing. And maybe even in panic mode a little bit, because all that's happening, all of a sudden, he is just grabbing his ass and nothing is transforming. So obviously for this to work, you need to be naked because you cannot have any type of armor on. And also you need to be in general vicinity to some enemies. So not exactly surrounded by, but vicinity. You're gonna be seeing how this works. Obviously, this does provide a certain armor to your stats, and it's actually kind of resistant, you know. It also gives you a lot of resistance to everything else, to all of the elements. So who knows, perhaps this actually can be a very viable playstyle. You tell me, and just let me know, how do you like playing as a dragon? Guys, this is Elpethium. I will be seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.